All right, here we go. Please subscribe to the channel. Please.
Hey guys, YouTube's got an algorithm and it really help us out a lot if you could like, comment, and subscribe. This is how we can get more information out to more people and share the message of Toronto real estate.
In
Thanks.
that order. Like, comment, subscribe, and hit the damn bell. Boom.
Make it work.
We can make everything work.
Nothing doesn't work.
Everything
Recording already. All right.
works.
Why are you so sneaky?
Should I stop recording?
Sneaky, my friend.
I can because I got to pee anyways.
Yeah, that's okay. You
Hey, I'll go pee.
There he is. Thank you.
How's it
Welcome, Mark.
going?
I have
man.
permission. I feel like I'm in public school again when I used to have a puis-je aller aux toilettes, s'il vous plaît?
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
it.
That's one of the only things I actually remember from French immersion.
You were going to the bathroom every 15 minutes, probably.
It was a necessity to know that sentence properly. Hey, Mark, welcome
Good
to
for
the
you.
show. Good morning.
Thanks for having me. Excited.
Yeah, it's exciting
So
to
Mark,
be.
this is a milestone for us actually because we've got a new booking manager. He's great, by the way, and we've been basically dealing with people like in the industry that we know from other places. We've had friends that business colleagues, that kind of stuff. But you are the first listener that we are bringing on the show as a guest. So
Yes, I've wanted to
you
Wow.
cracked the
for a
code.
long time. I was hoping you would be a little bit weirder looking.
Weird looking. I'm a little too normal for you.
No, he's good. He's a good-looking
You're too
guy.
good looking. Yeah, I was
He's-
hoping we
he's-
get some weirdo fan that would be super exciting.
No,
No,
he's a
your
celebrity.
fan base, they're tens, all tens.
All
Trust me.
tens.
All
See,
tens, nice.
I knew it.
Yeah, it's good to see you guys growing, I'm sure it's gonna be the first of many.
I hope so. Yeah, and that's something that we haven't really talked about too much, but definitely, yeah. If anybody else is interested in coming on the show and they think they got some great real estate knowledge and information, or just want to be on the show and want to fake it till they make it, we're happy to have you. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that.
It'd be good to have somebody who knew what they were talking about on the show at some point. Maybe we've hit the lottery today with Mark.
So and this is Mark. So this is in a nutshell here. Okay, so Mark is an agent. He's got his license within the last year, I think it is, Mark.
Yeah.
Correct? He's got family in the business, right? Your mom, right? And your
Yes.
dad's got some real estate related stuff too. And so you've had this lifelong upbringing, and here you are at 22 years old, diving into the real estate
Wow.
industry.
Love it.
Amazing. We're proud of you. That's what we
love
want to
it.
hear. That's
smart.
forget about all those other businesses out there. Get right into real estate young and make it big.
Stop wasting your time like for decades, like some of us. Spinning wheels.
Exactly. So you went to school. I checked out your Instagram. So you went to school, right?
Yes.
So you're at Western.
Western, I saw.
No, so I did 2 years at Western. I
Okay.
studied kinesiology.
Yep.
And right at the 2 year mark of the 4 year program, I thought, what am I doing? I'm not the body, the health guy. I don't want to get into massage therapy, chiropractic. I like homes, right?
Yeah.
So at that point, I made a little switcheroo. I went to York. I took on a very similar program, but it was more oriented towards writing and reading and just being sharp, I guess. So
Yeah.
I used that as a milestone to just kind of develop some skills, but I always knew I was going to be getting into real estate at some point because I was working on my license, doing the courses. It took about 2 years.
When
COVID hit,
when
so
did you know?
they-
You said you've always known. Like, tell me what that means. You always.
Well, I've
knew.
always had some sort of affinity towards it. I kind of like it's an entrepreneurial. You could get entrepreneurial with it. Not everyone does, but you can, and it's different from starting a different kind of business, like selling a product. I've always loved the shows like Shark Tank. I've wanted to invent something, and this is the closest thing you could do to that. But your product is top notch. It's a home. It's the greatest asset someone's going to be buying or selling. So you could have a lot of fun with that, I think. And so
So
far I have. It's been a great
would
time.
you say, would you say like in high school you were thinking about being a realtor, or would you say
Definitely
probably
not.
after high school?
No, definitely deeper into university.
Okay, good. So that's similar to my journey too, right? Where, you know, a young person thinking about going into real estate, like it's almost like the school system right now doesn't promote that. Like how many teachers are
Absolutely
sitting there at
not.
the front of the classroom saying like, you right there, sir, are going to be a good real estate agent when you're older, right?
Well, I mean, we do need more realtors. I mean, there's not enough of you guys out there, right? I mean, what do we
Yeah,
have?
that's the
How many
problem.
listings are there? 11,000 listings. I just read something yesterday that said Ontario has 62,000 real estate agents.
Yeah.
That's a horrible ratio. And
Yep.
nobody wants to work with buyers. So like there's like tons of buyers, no listings, and a billion agents, and nobody wants to work with the buyers.
Great market.
Smart.
It's the
right?
it's the perfect storm.
So hold on. Okay, so you're 22. Did you have to take the Humber course to get your license,
No.
or
So the
did you
reason
precede that?
the reason I did the course in the first place is my parents, they notified me that it was changing from Oria to Humber. So they said, just get in
Get
now.
it
And if
now.
you want to use
Well,
it,
we can
use it.
cheat for you. Okay.
Yeah. No, it was interesting
Yeah.
though. It went from in-person exams to online throughout around the 1 year mark. So
How hard was it? How
Oh,
hard
during
was
the
it?
pandemic.
how hard was it? People are saying they made it a little tougher, but it was kind of a breeze.
What do you learn on there? Do you learn how to like calculate a mortgage?
No, that would be the mortgage exam, I guess.
No, you
But
don't even learn how to calculate a mortgage. Okay. What do you
no,
learn?
you learn, the comparative market analysis, a bunch of stuff you're gonna use, but there's also a bunch of stuff you're not gonna use, right?
Tell us, what did you learn that you think you will use, like top of the list?
The top of the list, calculating the net operating income for investors. That's what they look at. Investors love numbers. First time buyers, it's more of you got to work on the connection with them. So it's very different for everyone, right?
Nice. That's the commercial course.
The commercial course.
Beauty.
So do we want to be in commercial or do we like residential?
22 years old, there's so much I could do, right? I met a guy, he started at 21 and now he switched at the 30-year mark and he only does commercial. So it's, keep it in the back pocket.
Let's
Smart.
start with residential.
What do they tell you, right? So what is the fresh out of school advice that you're getting from your mom, from the industry, from the brokerage level? Like, what's everyone telling you?
The fresh out of school advice. Well, okay, advice to new realtors. There's 3 things I'm doing right now. My schedule consists of 3 things, and I try to do it every single day. So number 1, prospecting.
Prospecting, yeah.
So you get on the phones and you just go for it. So I love the long dialing sessions. I don't mind it anymore. At first, it was a little annoying. I felt like I was bothering people. But now I feel I am a little bit. And, those are always fun conversations too, right? I learned that if you want to do it consistently, you got to have fun with it.
So what happened? So let's go
100%.
through a scenario. So you just call up some random guy on the street. How do you get his number?
So I'm like an FBI agent. I have everyone's number.
Okay.
No,
So you have their number.
I like to do it this way. When my team, I joined like the best team in Vaughan, number 1 team in Vaughan, we'll call it. They do a lot of business. So around where they have listings or just solds, I'm calling those homes, right? It's not just random most of the time.
Where'd you learn that trick?
It's pretty. Mike Ferry, he's like old school real estate coach. We just finished a 4-day training event with him. That was lots of fun.
Like your brokerage pays for that?
Yeah, the team leader, he wants to get everyone really into it, right? So this guy's big on following the
prospecting
schedule.
and coaching.
Prospecting, coaching, of course, that's a part of it. The strongest leaders, they learn every day. So that's kind of the mindset I'm taking. But other than prospecting, I'm practicing my scripts, what to say to people. And then I'm just previewing properties, getting in homes, looking around with buyers. My favorite part so far, it's been working with inspectors because they see all these little details in a home. They point it out. They're total pros. I love it.
Yeah.
And so it's just
Going to
teaching me.
inspections in the beginning is really important.
Yeah, it's
Where-
also really scary.
Can you get an inspection these days? Are we getting due diligence time?
Well, not really. What I've been seeing a lot is the pre-home inspection, and then even people, if they go firm, they like to do it after, just for just to have a safe mind. You're not going to have any problems with the home. Get an inspection, even though you already went firm.
TK, do we see
Makes
lots
sense.
of people do like our sellers where they have an inspection already done?
Yeah, that's also pretty common, right? There's a lot of
Yeah.
that out there too. So you've actually gone to the pre-listing home inspections and just watched the home inspector do that on some of the listings that you guys have.
Yeah, and I tell them, I go point out every little thing I want to learn.
Yeah, smart.
I'm not here to just open the door.
Yep. Then you can point out those things when you see them, or recognize a good property for your buyers, that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's
So
that's the
TK,
way to
what
go.
was your biggest struggle when you first started?
Yeah, TK, good question.
What's your
Whoa,
advice?
Mark.
What's your
Flipping the
advice?
script.
I
to-
like it. I like it. Guest
Yeah,
becomes
I want to.
host. Go.
Yeah, I mean, I did the same thing, right? Like I signed up for the course at 19. I was licensed at 21, and in the beginning, it's just like, and it was 2008, so we're in the middle of a recession. So
Perfect.
finding clients, I mean, that's the struggle, right? And when you're 25 or less, not a lot of your friends are that successful yet, right? So you don't have this huge pool of people. You've spent 20 plus years of your life building up this amazing network of friends through all sorts of sports and different things, and you're like, all right guys, I'm in business, support me. And they're all like, I'm living at home still.
Sell my house. Are you crazy?
Or yeah, they definitely don't have a place to sell. Like they're only going to be buying, and it becomes a challenge, right? Trying to
Or you
find
have
those,
no experience. Who the hell
Yep.
wants you selling their house?
trying to find those people. So I was really fortunate, and I know this is the case for me, is because my dad was in the business. I sold a house the very first week I was in real estate. I made exactly $0. I was doing the open house for him,
Not
and he
bad.
goes, do the open house and see what happens. And then an agent came in during the open house and said, like, stop the show. I'm bringing in an offer right now. And the sellers came home at 4, and we negotiated the deal with my dad calling every 5 minutes on the house line. I got paid $0, but I got a lot of experience, right? So I was like, this is great. This real estate stuff is awesome. Yeah.
That was in the recession?
Yeah, and we had just dropped. So we had listed it. It was listed at 325, and then they dropped the price to 300, and we had just dropped the price. I think it was like that week, the Thursday, Friday, or whatever. So now this agent's coming in, and he's like, "We want to pay $299, $500. He wanted off the price, and the sellers were like, "I ain't having it."
Oh,
They would not do it. So
Really?
we went back and forth, and the seller said no, and the agent is screaming and yelling. This is my first deal. The guy is screaming and yelling at the table that it's $500. I can't believe it. My dad's calling every
you
5.
guys put in the $500.
So my dad's calling every 5 minutes, and then all of a sudden he goes, "Son, tell him that we'll take $500 off our commission and get this deal done."
Get it
And I was
done.
like, "Okay, all right. There you go.
Oh.
First week of real estate."
Oh, that's an option.
Yeah. So
Right.
you learn, right? You figure out all these different things and nuances and stuff like that. And prospecting, man, I did it all: the calls, the books, the notes. I did Mike Ferry. I had all the different prospecting from door knocking, and I don't think you can do door knocking right now, but maybe you can.
You
I don't
can.
know. I don't think it'd be well received.
Well, did you hear that open houses just opened back up?
Open houses are back, so I imagine that means door knocking would be back too, right? So
Yeah, I've been
The
seeing
gloves
brokers
are
there.
off, guys. This city is open. Nothing happened.
you sure?
It's pretty crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. It
Have
looks
you
good
been
out there.
out?
Yeah, it looks
It
good out
looks
there.
pretty
I was at a
safe
birthday
out
party
there,
yesterday.
Yeah.
Right? So
There was a wedding across the street, pumping music in the backyard all night. It was great.
Well, I was
Parties
just
like
on St. Clair last weekend after Italy won. A couple thousand people there.
Yeah, I saw.
I heard something about that.
pictures. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
pretty wild stuff.
All the Italians came out.
It's
Every
good. So,
Italian.
so let's get into some current real estate news here while we're talking about that. Like, okay, so the city's opened up. people are vaccinated. More people are vaccinated in Canada than the States. The States is looking like wave number 4 is on its way, and we are opening up again. We have COVID cases coming in from the airport once again. I'm proud to say.
Talking about the borders opening up, the land border opening up again.
Borders are opening. Cases are maybe going to climb again with the Delta variant. If we were monetized, we would be demonetized, but we're not monetized. But
So,
this
doesn't
is
matter.
serious stuff going on. Anyway, so the city's all open, and are people buying real estate? Some are saying yes, and some are saying no. The market is cooling and on fire once again, folks.
What do you guys seeing, Mark? Like your activity on the team and your own personal business? Is anything?
The biggest change I've seen in the past month has been the rental market.
Rental
It's just
market.
been insane. Before, like at least 2 months ago, you submit an offer, and you have a pretty decent tenant. You go in at asking price, even under, you'll get them in. Now you're seeing 5-6 offers on a rental. Bidding wars.
Those prices are going to go back up to
Where? What
pre-pandemic
areas?
levels
Downtown?
quickly.
I've been seeing a lot in Vaughan. These
Everywhere.
the full
Wow.
homes,
These are detached homes, like
full
freehold homes.
size homes, even with people in the basement and separate tenants in the basement.
Wow.
Well, we
It's-
remember we looked at a few rentals, and it was like there's 2 to choose from. 2 of them suck, and 2 of them are overpriced. And now what?
You take your pick and you go in over asking.
So one of the biggest things, one of the best decisions that I did was did a lot of rentals the first couple of years too, because I remember I got some university students, and it was just this big network of people from Western and from Laurier, and they were all just like, I just got a job, I'm making $60K, and now I want to rent a apartment with 1 or 2 of my friends for $1,800 to $2,700. And I would just go out with them all the time and just be downtown. So I'd learn how to negotiate, learn how to do the offers, learn the condo buildings in and outs, all that kind of stuff, because they're easier clients to pick up, right, than buyers.
Yeah.
And it was a recession, and things are just getting back on track. So that was really helpful too. So then when the sales were happening, you're just like a well-oiled machine, right?
For
Not
sure.
just like, this is the first time I'm doing this, I don't really know, let me get back to you. Right. So that was a big help too.
You kind of, I guess, would have to do rentals. Most people have to at the start because it's slim pickings, and those are kind of available, or other agents that are too busy will kind of throw those crappy things your way, right?
That too, yeah. But it's also a young thing
It's
too.
good
right?
experience, though. Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
It's
young
great.
20s, your demographic is renting, and that's what you got to go with. This is the good news. And then my dad always said this too, because as I got older, closer to my late 20s and 30s, all my friends were buying.
Yeah.
Everybody was buying. And my dad was sitting there going, all my friends are in a home that I sold them 20 years ago. They don't want to move. They're going to die there. Right. So as his business was here, my business, we started to go like this, because everybody that I knew, this network that I'd built up my whole life, basically was all like they needed real estate. They had to get something. Right. So, you put the work in, and things work out.
Eventually,
Especially
they need a cottage, or their kid needs a place or something, right?
Yeah, that too. But I find the older generations, they're pretty much going to be buying 1 or 2 properties after 30 and staying put.
Okay, you think that?
In
I don't
that
know.
generation.
I missed your last podcast on the Bitcoin, but you don't think people are going to be shifting around quicker now?
Well, this is a new generation. Our generation is moving more than our parents' generation, for sure. The baby boomers. The baby boomers stayed put. In fact, that's a huge issue we have, is that those damn baby boomers don't want to sell those houses that they've got, and they've got all the best real estate, right? So that's the issue. But no, the millennials and whatever other generations we all get labeled with, they're the ones moving every 5 to 10 years, and that'll happen. That'll keep happening, because they
It'll
look at
keep
it as an
happening
asset,
for
right?
a while, for sure. Well, or they're not even going to own.
Sure. That's
A lot
possible
of
too.
them will be transient and in rentals, right? And you can bounce around. There was an article here: 30% of Toronto non-homeowners have accepted that they'll be renting for life.
Yeah,
That's
it's not
I
an
don't
easy
know.
transition.
So 30% of the people who are non-homeowners.
who are currently non-homeowners. So
Yeah.
they're just saying, like, I guess they're throwing in the towel and saying, I'm never gonna own in this environment because
Yeah.
I like my job and this is how much I'm gonna make, and I'm never gonna make enough to put away enough money to buy one of these things. But I can rent and I'm cool with it because I like the neighborhood.
Yeah. There's also a lot of people who are young right now who just get discouraged, right? So they get discouraged. They think, oh, I'm never going to be able to own. It's never going to work out
I
for
don't
me. My
remember
job will
thinking
never.
that. I don't remember ever
Prices were
thinking
200,000, Daryl, back in 1920 when you were that age.
I get it, but in 1920, when I was that age, you could buy a loaf of bread for a penny.
Like my friends, my 22-year-old friends, by the time they're ready to buy, let's say around 30, 35, what's a home going to be costing?
Yeah.
Well, let's ask you, because Daryl and I are making stuff up right now. And we both know we are. So, Mark, what
Yeah.
are people in their young 20s saying right now? What are they?
My
What is
daughter's
their
18,
hope for the
man.
future?
Their hope for the future, at least what I'm advising them on, like they could do whatever they want, but I'm telling them get into a pre-construction. Like that is probably the best way you could start because you don't have to worry about a mortgage for at least another 4 or 5 years. You make your little payments up to the 20% mark. And then, if you want to sell it later, you can sell it for a profit. You want to hold it, you can live in there.
So this
It's
is
tough.
with the assumption that everything keeps going up model,
Well, I think that's where things are headed.
that they're just
So-
continuously, always, forever going up.
Um,
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just clarifying.
well, I feel like that's the trend that we're headed on right now.
And
I don't-
the reason, Mark, that you've got that is you're basically saying to your friends, look, you don't need to pay $2,000 a month right now to buy that condo, right? Because if they go and buy 5% down now and they live by themselves, they're not getting any rental income, and that they're just going to be that every month they have to pay those payments, but they can't really afford those payments today. So instead, put down the 5% on a pre-construction, make additional deposits along the way, and delay the day that you have to actually consistently make, those $2,000, $3,000 a month payments, whatever it is, right? So it's good advice, right? I mean, depending on their situation, it's good advice to say you're getting into something, because having 5% is great, but unless you're going to go and do like a house hacking and get into something where you'll be getting rental income, or do what a lot of my friends did, and I'll just be very honest, is we would say we're moving into them, put down 5%, and then just turn it into a rental anyways too, right? Like that was what a lot of guys did, right? Then they would be like 2 years later, they'd say, yeah, I'm going to go buy another house for myself again. And then boom, buy another rental. And I was getting guys no money down mortgages. So they were saying, right, once I had that, we had that back in 2010, 11, whatever it was. And I was saying, get another house. You're going to be living in it, even though they're still living at home with their parents. You got a good job. You got good credit. The bank would give them a mortgage, no money down. Okay. All they had to do was pay their closing costs, and they would pay a 1% premium, and they would pay a higher mortgage insurance premium. So I think it was a 5% mortgage premium instead of like 3%. It's mortgage insurance, right? And then on your interest rate, instead of like 3.5, it was 4.5, or instead of 4, it was 5, whatever it was. So you paid a little bit more, but you got into a house no money down. So those are fun.
That was like 2007, 6, 7, 8.
No, it was like 10. It couldn't have been that
After
early.
everything fell apart?
Yeah, there were still those mortgages going on, for sure.
Really?
100%. 100%.
Wow.
Didn't last long, but I had a couple of years where I was able to do those.
A couple of years after that. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow.
You got to get creative, Mark. You got to find ways for your friends to, and
Yep.
I think pre-construction is a good option. I think there's other options too, but pre-construction is a good option. Sell your friends, sell the young generations on what it is that they can do with their money so that they can get into real estate and at least get a piece of the action.
I keep telling my daughter she needs to save her money, buy something that's got like 3, 4, 5 units, live in one of them, create a cash flow, and rinse and repeat.
Yes.
And I don't know if she's going to listen.
Where?
But
What city?
anywhere she can afford it. Like when it's time for her to buy, she's 18. So whenever in the next few years, whatever she saves should go towards something that will bring in money. Mark, did you ever read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad?
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think the secret's out. Real estate's the way to go. Like everybody agrees. They know now. You don't want to be playing around in the stock market. You don't want to be playing around in the crypto market. You want to put your money in something safe, real estate. Especially the pandemic definitely showed that. People like a nice asset. You can see it, feel it, touch it, smell it. It's not going anywhere. The value is most likely going to go up, or at least it's going to hold.
So
Long term, can't lose.
So, but in Rich Dad Poor Dad, the main point was that an asset is something that feeds you, and a liability is something that bleeds you.
Yeah. So you're not advising your daughter to go right into a lease, get a nice little rental car.
A lease?
A
No,
lease
not
on a
if she
car?
can. If she can afford to buy a car, then she should do that. The problem is nobody can afford the car they want to buy, right? Or
Yeah.
want to drive, right? So yeah, lease in a car is probably in her cards at some point. But if she's smart with real estate, she won't buy a house to live in. She'll buy something that makes her money, that affords her the ability to buy a house to live in. I was never smart enough to do that, but if you start early enough, it's actually fairly easy to do.
Yeah. It's all about your expenses, right? Like the problem that most people have is that they've built up this lifestyle and they're like,
Expenses.
if I all of a sudden change into this lifestyle, I'm not going to have all these luxuries that I'm used to. And so when you're
Right.
18, 20, 25 even, it's super easy to be able to just
Now's the
start off on the
time.
right foot. Yeah.
Well, unless you're paying for a Bentley or something already month to month, or
Chances
you're
are you aren't at
paying
that
for
age.
$8,000 a month, balling it down at the Shangri-La, and buying bottle service. But if
Yeah.
you save your money, you can buy something in Hamilton or Welland or wherever the hell, right?
Well, let's talk
Niagara
about then
region.
what people those age would be um, uh, hunkered down with debt, student loans,
Student loans, the stupidest thing
Yeah.
ever.
right? Let's talk about that. Like Mark, out of your friends, okay? You don't have to tell us anything personal, but out of your friends, how many of them have student debt?
I have a lot of friends who their parents definitely help them out with that,
Okay,
for sure.
but you know about people your age with student debt for sure.
Yeah, they got the debt. It's holding them back, but
I
you
have a
can't go
friend.
wrong investing in your education.
What about after school though? Like they get post grads, they do masters, all that kind of stuff. These are some parents say, look, I'll cover you for the first 4 years. After that, you're on your own.
Yeah, people love their degrees. They love their titles. It makes them feel a little bit more significant. And I agree. Like, why not go for it?
Where are the people getting jobs with these degrees nowadays? Like,
I
what
don't
does
think
a
they
BA
are.
get you? Yeah, I don't think they are. It's
You
just
get
a big
you
waste of time right now.
you
Like,
get a job at Starbucks.
if it doesn't close and turn into a legal weed shop, I'm not even
Yeah.
kidding. Did you hear about that one? Everybody's up in
Yeah,
arms
yeah.
because the Starbucks turned into a weed shop.
Yeah. Not everybody.
Everything's a weed shop right now.
Not
We just got
everybody.
an offer for a lease from a weed shop. Like, they're
Yeah.
everywhere.
There's one near me too that they already closed down and then rebranded and came out as a new name.
Sure.
Like it was like 6 months. It was like your neighborhood pot shop or whatever it was, and now it's called like Weeds or something like that. And it was just like I was like that place just opened. Like how is that possible? It's next to my shawarma place, and then it was already rebranded as a new place. So wonder what happened.
Unbelievable. But it's a hot market. If you're leasing like commercial retail space,
Yeah.
holy, boom, you're going to have a weed shop in 2 seconds. I'm not even joking. It's insane. So
Yeah.
what else can we talk about? So I love the young perspective. Like I love, because I watch, TikTok and what some of these younger agents are showing on there. And I'm like, oh my goodness gracious, what is going on out there? This is going to be interesting. It's a very different perspective on everything from the younger generation right now. So what do people think about buying versus renting in your age group?
I'm not really dealing with too many people my age right now. I see my friends, we're out. They're like, Mark, sell me a condo in 10 years, like when I can afford it.
So nobody's renting even? Like nobody's doing anything? Nobody's
They are
thinking about
definitely
it?
around the schools, things like
Anybody
that.
getting
Most people
engaged
are
or married?
I think people are holding off a little now, but yeah, most people they're staying with their parents, saving their coin, just preparing themselves for when they're ready.
Yeah, I mean, it must be tough. You grow up in a house where there's food everywhere, there's a pool in the backyard, mom's been cleaning and doing your bed forever. Like all of us grew up like that. And now, on top of leaving all of that, you need like 400 grand to buy something even close to what you're used to living
Something
in.
decent.
Like not even decent, like
slaving
kinda
away
decent.
40 hours a week to pay for it.
No, how do people save up? How long does it take after tax to make 400 grand for a normal person?
Yeah.
400 grand gets you an average house. 300 grand, 350 gets you an average crappy house that needs work for sure.
Yeah. From what I see is the average age. There's always people who come in like under 25. Like that's just, and they'll tell you about that for the rest of their life. They'll say when they're 60, they'll be like, I bought when I was 21. Okay, great. Good for you. But it's an anomaly. The average age is probably between 28 and 30. That's
To
what I
buy a
see.
house? Really?
To buy a house.
Now.
Now, that's a common thing, especially if they're single income. Right? That's a normal thing. And then they have parental support. If my kids said to me they wanted to buy a property at 22 and they wanted my help, it would be my property and it would be it would be under my control, because I wouldn't trust the decision, right, of my kid knowing that they just were, begging me to, borrow my car or whatever it was, and now they all of a sudden want to borrow $400,000 to buy a condo. I'd be like, because it's near their friends or it's near the pot shop that they go to every Saturday, right? Like that's not going to happen on my watch. So I think that the reality is when I see people helping kids, and we talk about this all the time, parental support, bank of mom and dad,
Necessary.
they're usually older kids.
Yeah.
Usually older kids. Sure. Oh, that makes sense. Well, actually, that can't be true. People getting married get nice gifts in many walks of life these days. Nice fat gifts that include like probably a decent amount of the deposit on a first place. But hold on a sec. How normal is a one income family for younger people these days? Is that normal?
Well, it's
What's
hard
young?
to find a partner.
What's young?
To find a partner.
Yeah.
What's young? I don't know. Younger than you for sure.
Well,
Yeah,
the youngest person that I've done
Mark's
business
age.
with, the youngest person I've done business with so far I've done real estate about 5 months now. It's been a 29-year-old.
29 is the youngest. What did he, she, they, them?
It was a he, really cool guy. He's starting a tech startup for higher education. Really cool guy. So these millennials, they're with it. He's going to be like a Kevin O'Leary.
What's he looking at? What are you showing him? Or what did he buy?
I was looking at St. Clair and Avenue Road. He's looking to rent a condo there.
Oh, rent. Okay, yeah, rent in there. That's still expensive. That's like what, $3,500 a month at least?
We were looking at a 1-bed, 1-bath condo. We're looking at $1,700.
What? Where?
Fox Bar, 99 Fox Bar. Really nice building. It's brand new. They just put it up.
How many? Hold on. How much per month?
1,700.
For one bedroom, that's 650 square feet.
480 square feet.
Yeah, around there.
Oh,
you got your one bed, nowhere to really do work.
You can't open up the oven without moving the sofa over 3 inches.
Yeah,
wow.
I mean,
okay, but that's affordable. That's good. Look at this. Toronto is growing. We have affordable rentals. $1,700, and you can. What can you do at the same time? You can sleep.
Do the dishes in your bed.
Do the dishes at the same time.
Yeah.
That's not where I was heading, but that was good. Thank you.
I did a little research before this show, eh?
All right.
I did some due diligence. The average age of a realtor is 57.
Whoa. Out of 62,000 people, average age where? In the planet?
The median.
On the planet or in Ontario or where?
My research wasn't that extensive.
It's probably NAR, because NAR is the one who's really good at these stats. So it's probably the National Association of Realtors, which is in the States. They've got a lot more data than
but they probably have
But that's an
equivalent
accurate
age,
stat. That's accurate.
57.
Yeah.
So in Ontario, out of 62,000, how many of them are average age? What is it? How many?
57 median.
And how many of them are at the median age?
There's probably a good amount of them.
But the majority is. That's what we're saying.
For sure.
But what I'm getting at here is I think
Dying
through
breed.
social media we're seeing a lot of younger realtors now. They're definitely popping up and people like to root for them.
Yeah.
But do they
I think
to
younger
buy
realtors are
stuff
better.
from them? Do people buy from them or do they watch their videos?
Honestly, I think it's a lot about the experience nowadays. Anyone could help you through a transaction, but if you want a more meaningful, more fun experience, I think the youth, TK, you're included in the youth, by the way.
Thank you.
They bring that energy and enthusiasm. Like a 60-year-old is not going to bring the same amount of energy, enthusiasm. They're not going to make it fun. Nowadays you have your broker of record, you have a whole team behind you, so there's not going to be too many problems.
I'm
So
feeling
it's pretty
fairly excluded at the moment, I must say.
I agree. No, there's a young professionals network in OREA, and they're the median age there is like 50. So you're okay, Darryl.
What do you think of young realtors with tattoos? I think that's the new trend. We're seeing a lot of arm sleeves.
The guy in the Hamptons that I follow on Instagram, I can't remember his name, but this guy I think it's Nest Seekers. I can't remember, but he kills it. Like you're talking like, 8-digit transactions and stuff like that. And he just looks like he's a surfer.
Yeah.
And he just looks like everything opposite of what a realtor is supposed to look like on TV. And he kills it.
If you're going to be a good realtor, you only need like a very insignificant slice of the pie to be successful, right? You don't need everybody. So if you cater to the tattoo liking people, then they're going to buy shit if you're good. If you have a tattoo and you have sleeves and you're an asshole and you don't know what you're talking about,
you have
right?
to deal with assholes, which is not fun. It's stressful.
Yeah, and you'll probably sell a lot of real estate too because they buy too.
It'd be stressful,
right?
but you'll do it. Yeah.
It's just a different experience, right?
Yeah.
So hold on. So you said that, if you want to have a more fun experience, you're going to go with the youth. So like
100%.
How can you turn an experience like buying a house, the most important decision anybody will ever make? And generally, they're not making this decision alone. So there's lots of stuff flying around the room. How do you make that situation more fun than, say, somebody TK's age?
Well, let's not pick on TK here, but there's more to it than opening the door. Here's the bathroom. Here's the kitchen. They could see all that, right?
Yeah.
They want someone who's going to go in there and educate them on the process, but at the same time, make it fun, crack a couple jokes, get to know them on a more personal, deeper level. It doesn't have to be so transactional.
No.
So, and the other part to that too, and that's a personality thing. Like there's lots of people in their 60s who will get along with humans, right? So we can't just say that that's just the younger people, but there's also a lot of technology stuff too that older generations aren't using. And the other part too is social media. So people are going with brands that they recognize on social media because they feel like they know the agent, right? So if you've got a good social media presence and you're out there and you're putting your personality on display, people are going to feel like they know you a lot better. So then it's like they feel more comfortable, and then you get to go right into the situation with somebody that as opposed to some stranger, and that's another big part too. Social media is huge.
So big. Everyone wants to be like Ryan Serhant.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Who's that?
The man.
Is that
$1 Million Listing New York guy with the gray hair? Yeah.
That guy should dye his hair. It bothers me a great deal.
I read both of his books.
Yep.
Oh yeah. What does he teach people?
He teaches hard work. That's his thing. You just got to get up every day and do the work, and then the work's going to take care of you.
The work's going to take care
follow up, follow back, and follow through.
So that's why that was my idea of starting at 22, because if you stay consistent at anything and you put in consistent work, effort, and you're learning every day, I don't think you could lose, right?
100%. I agree. I agree.
No,
Don't have high expectations of being the number one Toronto real estate agent at 24 years old. Like, it's just not something that is likely. But by the time you get to 30, and then you're basically in the running with any other agent that could possibly exist on this planet, you're going to have almost 10 years of experience that's going to help you, right? And that's just the reality of it. It is a tough go. I mean, in my 20s, I had ups and downs all the time dealing with people and not getting the listing or whatever it is, right? Because I didn't have information, or I wasn't experienced, or I hadn't sold in that neighborhood, or whatever it is. But that all goes away. That all fades away.
I think one thing I notice right now that is happening is that people are, which makes, I think, sense, but it seems like people are going more towards working on teams and less into farming and knowing a specific area, right? Because they want that instant kind of hit, right? And on a team, there's lots of action, there's lots of sales. I imagine there's less commissions per sale, but people aren't willing to wait the time it takes it's necessary to actually become the guy in the area. And a decade later, after a lot of slug and crap, all of a sudden, like 50% of the listings on a few streets are yours. Like, there's people that I watched growing up that just, they picked a pocket, and all of a sudden they were like, they were the guy in the area, or they were one of 2-3 guys in the area. And it didn't matter which area they picked, because every area went bananas over my lifetime, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it was that consistency and that waiting. So I don't know what's a better fit, to be, bottom rung of a team, or to farm an area of your own and kind of create that kind of thing. I don't know. What do you guys think?
You can do both. Why can't you do both? Right?
You
Especially if
probably
you're
could do
beginning
both,
and you.
but do people do both?
Absolutely.
Well, Darryl, I just did a deal with someone, a rental deal. She just got divorced and she put her home on the market. She told me that she really does not like her realtor at all, like personality wise, but that's her area. She's farmed it. She's got signs everywhere. Not going to name the realtor, but so that's the realtor she went with. She didn't really care about the whole fun experience thing. She
Right.
just wanted, boom, this
Money.
this realtor is going to be firm. Even though I don't like her, I'm going to go with her anyways.
Because she's going to sell my friggin' house for the most money. And listen, I'll tell you personally, for whatever it's worth, I don't give two shits how fun the experience is. I want to either buy the best house for the best price, or I want to sell my house for the most amount of money and get the best
For
deal.
sure.
Fun is great.
Imagine if you could do both of those. That's
Yeah.
ideal, isn't it?
It's a wonderful marketing pitch for sure.
I like it.
It is a wonderful pitch.
Yeah. So Darryl, there are actually a lot of teams in Toronto that have an agent who specializes in a niche market, whether it be like one guy does all the commercial, one guy does a specific neighborhood, one guy is specialized here, and they become that. That's actually really common. There's a lot of teams that'll have that. Like in my neighborhood, the biggest team.
But you don't see the individual like branding for that person all over the place.
So let me explain that. So in my neighborhood, this lady joined a team that was a Toronto team. Okay. And so she had this great branding, and then she started doing her own marketing in my neighborhood, but it was advertising this bigger team that was selling like more luxury properties in Toronto. Then about maybe 5 to 10 years ago, she separated from the team, and then she just continued to brand herself and built up her team. So she learned all the experience from the person who had been doing it before her, understood branding, understood marketing, understood all the different aspects of real estate. She was farming the area that she was living in and wanted to work in, and now she's the top team in the neighborhood.
Beauty.
Yeah. So there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, there's
That's
so many different ways to go. Anybody who says they know, I was looking at some different things like investment stuff, and there's guys who have just been doing like, this is what they sell and this is all they sell, and they've been doing it for 30 years. And they're specialists, right? They're specialists, and it's like that's what they do, and that's just what they're comfortable with. And you can call them. This is how you find out if somebody's a specialist or not. I forgot to mention this. If someone says to you, "I'm a specialist. I work in Woodbridge. I am the Woodbridge agent. Nobody does it better than me." Okay. This is how you find out if they're telling the truth or not. Right. Or if what they're offering is of any value. You say, well, I got a great, property that my mom's selling down in Oakville. It's $3 million. Do you want to take that listing too? And if they say yes, it's all BS. Right?
Ah.
Because then they're going to go, yeah, Oakville too. Yeah, I do that. And they're like, oh, well, you just said you're the Woodbridge guy. This is what you do in Woodbridge, and that I should hire you because you specialize in Woodbridge.
But
Now all of a sudden you can sell Oakville.
Woodbridge.
Yeah, and if you can sell Oakville, then that means anybody else can sell Woodbridge. So what are you talking about? Are you the Woodbridge guy or are you the real estate guy? Right. So that's a good way to look at it. But for commercial guys, you tell a commercial guy he sells residential, he's going to say no every time. Right. Real commercial guys. You're like, what the hell? I don't want to deal with your drama selling your condo.
But they'll have someone to refer, hopefully.
Sure. But a commercial guy's not dealing with residential real estate.
No, it's a bunch of nonsense. So here's something interesting. Can I shift gears a little?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Check this out. Another survey. Most Toronto real estate brokers want to end blind bidding. Almost 90% of the brokers and consumers in the Toronto real estate market support ending blind bidding, according to a survey conducted by iPro Realty. Blah, 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 blah. So, so let's see. I'm doing a survey of 100% of the realtors on the show today.
Mhm.
What do you, Mark, think about blind bidding?
I like the blind bidding. It gives everyone an equal playing field.
TK, you're gonna have to be a no in order for this survey to have any form of accuracy at all.
Mhm.
What do you say? Do you like blind bidding?
I think that the way that it is right now doesn't help the case for affordable housing, unfortunately. There's a lot of money wasted with the way that we're doing the bids right now. Because usually what happens when somebody does overbid, so the first place guy spends $100,000 more than the second place guy, usually the person who is getting that extra $100,000 didn't really expect to get that extra $100,000. Like they're usually pretty happy with that second place guy's offer, but they're like, oh wow, this guy's willing to pay that much more, and that's the issue, right? So now that extra $100,000 goes into that guy's pocket where he blows it on some stuff he probably doesn't need, and of course this drives up prices for everybody else, which makes affordability out of reach. So
Can you see my screen now? Is it working?
yeah, if I have to pick a yes or no, then I'm going to say that blind bidding is something that we should have a clear set of rules on how to sell a home without it.
The
And
worst is when you're
those
putting
Wow,
in an
that
offer.
was so clear and concise, and definitely you picked a side there.
Did I?
The only
That
problem
was
that
so
I have,
politically correct. It was disgusting.
I don't think
have,
it's Darryl. I don't think it's that easy to just say there's no blind bidding anymore. It's not that easy.
No, it's not that easy.
We're
It's
not in
I think-
Australia.
But the
Yeah, like
question
Australia, New
was-
Zealand, these places have bidding and stuff like that. That works.
But the question was, what do you think about it, TK? No, what's the most politically correct thing you could
I
possibly
think we have to
say?
head in the direction of getting rid of blind bidding. Yes.
Okay.
And it
So
can't be
you
done
are
overnight.
not for blind bidding. So we have 50% of all realtors surveyed today think that blind bidding should be abolished. So that lends this a little bit of credibility. So Mark, why not? You want
That
to
article doesn't have any credibility.
you want to be the superstar and get your clients top dollar?
I mean, yeah, I like the way it is now. See, I had a problem a couple of weeks ago. We were submitting an offer. There was 8 other offers on the property. The listing agent, he said, okay, I'm going to bring in your best offer. We're going to take the best one. We bring our best offer. He goes, okay, you're close to the top 3 people. I'm going to give you a chance to improve. So what do? They wanted the house. We improved a little. And he goes, okay, you're close with you're like in the top 2, like improve again. And then 3, 4, 5 rounds, it got out of hand. It got nuts. And I just feel like if you were to eliminate the blind bidding, you'd have sort of like the eBay effect where someone just, let me go a little bit more than you. And then it just gets out of hand.
Yeah. So escalation clauses are an answer to blind bidding. So then you give people an option and say, look, if you want to go in and you want to give us an offer for $200,000 over asking, do it, no problem. But if you want to go in and say, look, I'm going to give you an offer for asking, but I'll beat any offer that you have by 5,000 up to $200,000 over asking. You just got to prove to me that you got that offer, right? Then there will be honest people out there who will say, well, we didn't get an offer for 200,000 over asking. We got an offer for 60,000 over asking. He pays 65K over asking. He gets the property. Bob's your uncle.
What happens when there's 3 or 4 of those people with the escalation clauses?
Then you go into the same situation and you say that guy's max is 200,000, right? That guy says his max is 300,000. So it becomes the same thing as blind bidding. It just protects us in the instances where there isn't multiple people with escalation clauses and there isn't multiple people who are hungry for the house. There's one guy who's really hungry and a bunch of people who couldn't care less if they get it. I've had people, all offers are under asking, and then one guy outbids $200,000. Everybody else is under asking. They're like, I don't care if I get this property. It sucks. And then one guy comes in and just goes, oh, 200,000 over asking. It's like, what?
So why do we not abolish the asking price? How relevant is it? Do you need
consumers aren't like investors? They don't have the metrics to analyze properties and figure out what it's worth. You need to give them a clue.
That's what you guys are for. That's the only thing you guys are for right now.
Unfortunately, it's too subjective.
But are we even using the asking price in the algorithm anymore, or is it based on what everything else is sold for and a feeling and a time frame and a?
I think we're seeing it more. People got really tired of the bidding wars. They just got very fatigued after losing out 2-3 properties. You got to make a
bidding
decision
wars and
within
rentals,
6 weeks.
But now they've gone and they're having bidding wars over the rentals. They're like, fuck, I can't get a house. Let's go rent a place. Oh, crap. We can't rent a place. We better up the bidding because we have some money. We'll do this for a little while and we'll live in a nice place.
The rental bidding wars are tough, though, because now tenant landlords, they're only accepting AAA. Like, if your credit's under 7 and you're competing against multiple renters, good luck.
Yeah. So, deal of the week this week, okay, is the furthest listing I've ever taken. Okay, clients bought a property. They wanted me to sell their house in Coburg.
Where the hell's Coburg?
It's east along the 401. So I said, okay, you know what? We can do this, right? We've got some team members who live out there and we do some advertising out there. And obviously we're advertising it to Toronto buyers. So I list the property at $1,250,000. Okay. And this was right before Canada Long Day weekend. We get 3 showings from local agents, right? So there was no like Toronto buyers coming in. And in 2 weeks total.
What was the place? What are we listing?
3,000 square foot house built 20 years ago near the water. Not on the water, but near the water.
Acres? How many acres?
A builder's lot, 75 by 160. Like
for how much?
Subdivision lot. 1.25.
In Coburg, which I just found is near Port Hope, which it's not even near Port Hope. It's just kind of like
it's far. It's an hour away from my house. Yeah, and I live in the East End. So, anyways, don't interrupt me, Darryl. So $1,250,000, and then after 2 weeks, there was only 3 showings. So we went back and looked at the drawing board, and they had said that this is the price that they were hoping to list at. We had gone back and forth. We had a few different prices in mind. So we said, okay, let's list it at $1,150,000. Okay, because this was a price that we had been talking about for months leading up to all this. They had just kind of got a little bit of a hope to get more. So the last sale on the street was like 9 something, but it was last year and it backed right onto the water. So we said, okay, let's go list it at $1,150,000. Then all of a sudden, all the Toronto buyers came back out. We had, all the stuff that we do. So we were getting about, 9-10 showings or something like that within 5-6 days. And ended up getting 3 offers and sold for $1,212,000.
And it's not on the water?
It's not on the water. Yeah.
Is it beautiful inside?
It's 20 years old.
I don't understand.
The market.
No. Wow. Then I got a steal and a half.
Yeah. Coburg's far. But either way,
Coburg's
that's what happened. I think before Canada Day weekend, we had things that were not doing so well and things were sitting. And then all of a sudden after Canada Day weekend, people started to go back out and look again. And we started to see a rush of buyers.
I think just based on the crowd I hang with, like everybody's kids are at camp and they are just busy partying right now. Like they never had kids.
Yeah.
Like they're not thinking about anything right now other than just going out,
Camps are full.
out.
Every
Yeah.
camp in the GTA, if you're on a waiting list, I'm on one waiting list for a camp for my son that's like 87 spots ahead of me. They're like, you're number 88.
Are you like trying to
I'm
trip
hopeful.
kids in the parking lot?
I'm hopeful.
Hey, you
Spraying their ankles. Listen, you
Come
can't
here.
make it this week.
I'll give you
Let me take
$20
your spot.
if you stay home tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. So there's like there's a shortage of camp spots. There's a crisis. See, now
Camp
that
crisis.
that's a headline. Camping crisis. This is not good.
Another topic from last week's show that I'd like to get into, Daryl.
Yeah, go for it. It's your
Price
show.
per square foot on resale condos.
Oh, our friend Jordan has been tweeting about that a lot. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you buy a condo, all right, and I go into a building and I'm looking at price per square foot, okay, I look at the last three sales. They all sold for $1,000 a square foot in this building that's 15 years old. All right. And I go, wow, $1,000 per square foot. That's what I want to pay. But the unit that I'm looking at is now got a terrace. It's got, it's south facing, looking over the water. It's got new renovations that, the other ones were all original from 15 years ago. Right. There's so many other, it's got 2 parking instead of 1. Right. There's so many factors that go into the resale experience that when someone says to me, well, this was price per square foot and that kind of stuff like that, to me, they spent way too much time on condos.ca and that they're just looking at things that are not the right metrics to look at. It's a lot different in pre-construction because obviously there's a lot more things that are similar, and everybody knows in pre-construction, the earlier you get there, then the better exposure or the better whatever you'll get. And they usually have price increases for those type of premiums anyways. But in resale, if you go into a resale condo, you're going to look and you're going to say, well, what's the exposure? Is that one that sold for 1,000 square foot, but is that on the penthouse? Like, is that looking over the water? Is that got the second parking spot? And these are all the factors that we look at. And I've never, ever once made a decision on a resale condo for price or resale house, but obviously like that, no one would do that on a house, but on a condo more specifically, I've never made a decision on a resale condo based on price per square foot.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, unless you never want to buy something.
Exactly. Or pay too much. Because now you go into the unit and you go, that one's over 1,200 square. Wow, this is amazing. I'll pay $1,181. Meanwhile, that one was totally renovated, better exposure, had the terrace and the second parking spot, and you got suckered. What was Jordan tweeting about? So I don't have Twitter. Maybe I should get Twitter.
You should get Twitter. Jordan was tweeting about the, I guess, the gap between new condo pricing and resale condo pricing tightening up considerably. And that new is not as far out there in comparison to current stock.
Okay.
Which is pretty interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd think those two things would be like 25% apart.
Yeah, I mean, they might be probably like 15 or something like that, 20%. But still, I mean, if you're buying why would you buy a new construction for $1,450 if you could buy for $1,250, something that's ready now?
Yeah.
I guess you need that time to save up. It's a dangerous game to bank on what you're going to be making later and how much you're going to put away in the 4 or 5 years. And if you can afford the mortgage, because what's the mortgage rate going to be at then?
Yeah.
Right. That's a dangerous kind of game, even though, I mean, it definitely benefits me a great deal that people play that game. I like that game, but it's dangerous as a buyer unless you're investing. No, and you can lose that money. How do you do that? How do you bank on what you're going to be making later?
You listen to the presentation that the pre-construction condo guys make
while paying rent the whole time for where you're living. I guess if you live at home, I guess there's some situations that make sense. So where do you stand Mark, on the market? I guess you're pretty bullish considering you don't think it will ever come down ever again.
I think we're going to be very similar to New York, London, Hong Kong, Toronto. We just got people coming here. This is the place to be. I mean, where else would you want to be?
I agree. I agree emphatically, actually. I mean, there'll be dips for sure, but like
Yeah.
this thing's on a trajectory up. And here's some evidence of such, I believe. I think this is a bigger deal of the week than yours.
Yeah, it didn't seem too
I don't-
climatic there.
Did we talk about it
Climactic.
even?
Yeah.
Cadillac Fairview buys 100% stake in Toronto Buttonville Airport. Now, they owned 50% prior, but they just paid $180 something million for the other half of Toronto Buttonville. And the question that I'm posing here in a roundabout, long-winded way is, do you think a company like Cadillac Fairview thinks the market is going up or down based on this purchase? Because Buttonville Airport is a fairly large piece of land in a very, very populated area of this city.
Mm-hmm.
Any takers on that question?
What are you thinking, TK?
Well, I think the answer is obvious here. What they think, Cadillac Fairview. But my question is, do we really need Buttonville Airport? You know, like is that an airport that is that necessary to maintain, or could they shrink it down to a quarter of its size and just have some more essential uses for it, right? And develop the rest.
It'd be really hard to kind of have some development there with planes flying on us on a runway there. Be a little tight.
Well, you're not gonna have the houses that close. It's a huge piece of property. How many acres is it?
It is a gigantic amount of acres, but they are not planning on putting, like commercial property around an airport. They're probably planning on putting 60-story towers and such. Okay. Rental, retail, maybe a hockey rink. Hold on, let me see if I can do some quick.
So they're trying to help out with the supply issue.
Absolutely. 169 acres.
Perfect. So like how many acres do you really need for an airport? 50? 100?
I don't know.
I think a good 60 acres of developable land.
You're not building 60-story towers when you have an airstrip anywhere near you.
Okay, but maybe they build something else.
Unless.
Look what right near Buttonville. There's a ton of development. There's a ton of subdivisions.
This will be a gigantic boost for the supply in 2031.
In Prestonvale in Curtis, Tribute paid like $1 million an acre. They bought 30 acres for 30 mil, for residential development land.
Sounds
so
like
these guys just got the other half, right? For how much? 160 million?
193 million for the second half of the property.
Okay.
Which means they're valuing it at $390 million, this thing.
Yeah.
It's a decent sized deal.
$2.25 million an acre or something like that.
So, but it's hard to make those kind of deals in residential real estate.
I agree.
What kind of commission do you think you get on a $193 million commercial deal?
Not enough.
Not enough, right? To deal with the shit you got to deal with on those deals.
Not enough.
That deal probably takes two
ownership.
years.
I want 5% stake.
In the airport.
Right.
We had an agent do a $190 million deal at my old company, and they got paid $19 million, 1%.
Wow,
that's pretty cool.
Did they quit?
190,000.
Right after.
Sorry.
Did they quit?
Not 19 million.
Did they get a yacht?
It was 190,000.
Instagram account?
No. That's like a normal commission. They spent like 6 years working on that deal. It's like
yeah. Oh, if you spread it out, he didn't make that much money.
He didn't make so much money. Yeah.
It's good now, but he had to pay off.
So we're winding down the show here. So we're getting desperate here, Darryl. Come on.
Are we getting
Mark,
desperate?
I want to know, Mark. How can people find you? We want to boost Mark's real estate business here. How can people find you so that if they need help with their real estate sales, they can find you? Where are you at?
The best way right now is on my Instagram, Marc_Rosati. And, I'm getting all the other platforms. I'm getting them set up, for the future. So keep an eye out for that.
You
Good.
should start a YouTube channel.
Start
Yeah.
young. Get it done.
Get her
Create a
done, baby.
following.
All right. Well, thanks, Mark, for your time. We appreciate it. It was great. Nice to meet you. Good luck
Great
in all
meeting
of
you.
your future endeavors in real estate.
And thanks
Yeah,
for
well-
listening and watching the show. You know, we appreciate it.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
really
thanks for
appreciate it.
sure.
The
Hopefully
milestone,
we
the
could do
first
it
guest.
again.
Yeah, we'll do it again. We'll
100%.
follow up with you and see where you landed in a few months.
In a few
100%.
months. Okay, great.
You want to come back next week?
Sweet. Let's watch the recording of this one first. See how it goes.
No worries.
It's
man, no
okay. It's
pressure.
unedited. No
Yeah.
editing. Our editor
I
just
like it.
quit, actually.
The editor quit. He's
Again.
yeah.
It's tough to chop off the starting and the ending. It's a lot of work.
He had
All
two
right, cool.
trims to make.
That was
Okay.
beautiful.
Enjoy your
Thank you,
Sunday.
sir. Enjoy your Sunday. Mr.
Yeah, you
TK,
too.
always a pleasure.